Welcome to part 2 of the shipbook phase for ISS Vanguard. Before we get into this, I just want to ask you guys a question. What level are you? And you might be thinking, wait a second, we don't use levels in this game, we use ranks. And I'm just starting out, so most of my guys are rank 1. But that's actually not what I'm talking about. What level are you? And you may have noticed that the channel icon says level and then there's a question mark afterwards, because every time you watch one of these videos and you see that icon, I want you to think to yourself, what level am I in this game and how can I level my character up or my crew aboard the ISS Vanguard? But more importantly, I want you to think about what level am I in real life? Is there some area in my life, some statistic or stat of me personally that I'm lacking a little bit, and could I level that up a little bit if I put forth some effort? So anyway, next time you guys see that that icon on the channel that says level question mark, I hope that comes to your mind. What level am I in real life, and is there an area where I'm lacking a little bit where I could put forth some more effort and level myself up? Okay, so with that said, this is where we left off after the first video, and I just wanted to point out that this is the area where you do your planet exploration, right in between here. And I was a little bit confused when I first got the game because I thought you did a planet exploration and then you went through the entire shipbook phase and then you went back to the planet. That's actually not the case. You do the planetary exploration in the middle of the shipbook phase. And so this is the part that you do before you do the planetary exploration, and this is the part that you do after. So when you finish the tutorial planetary exploration, they basically just skip this part of the book and bring you right into this. You don't do this after the first planetary exploration, but you're going to do it after the second one. So I just wanted to point that out, that this is where the planetary exploration takes place after you've done this part of the shipbook. Once you get back, you do this part of the shipbook. And then they'll show you in the back here where there's a save point where you can stop the game. I just wanted to back up though and just point out really briefly here, if we go back to the activities you can do aboard the ISS Vanguard, the ship facilities, I mentioned before that the game recommends you do the barracks and the production complex to start out, just to get a few more crew members and to start producing some items that might help you along your way. Since then, I've kind of looked at these other two here. This one says you need campaign progress in order to do the add-on facilities. You can't even do that yet. But these two here, this one allows you to do different research projects, which I think you only have like one right now. Yeah, you have one research project that it tells you to put in right away, and you'll gain more along the way. But the situation room was the one in particular I was looking at, because I mentioned earlier about these situation cards that you draw, and it has you draw this at the very beginning of the shipbook here. If we back up to the bridge where you first start out, it tells you to check the situations that are in the awaiting envelope, and if you have one in there, something bad happens to you if you haven't resolved that situation. And then you reveal new situations based off of your objective card here. And here it says one situation. So that's why we drew this one situation when we did the bridge phase. So what happens with this situation? Well, if you don't do anything with it, it goes into your awaiting envelope. And when you come back to the bridge phase, you check your situations and something bad happens to you. So you do have an opportunity to get rid of that, rather than you could skip one of these two and you could do the situation room instead, which basically you just resolve the situation and do what it says in the card once it's been resolved, which in our case, it's removed from the game, which is good. Otherwise, something bad happens and it gets shuffled back in and you get it again. So if you choose to do both of these, you're not going to be able to resolve your situation. It's going to come back up the next time you go to the ship phase, which, you know, some might be willing to take that risk and some might not. So that's another option you have, is to go to the situation room and get rid of this. Also, just like most of the other facilities, if you go to page 17, it does say here, there's not a whole lot written on here. There's just this. And it basically says you can resolve one situation, or you can use a crew member as a supervisor to resolve the situation. So it might be better to come back and do this when you have 2 or 3 situations, and you can kind of resolve them all at once. One for free by using this, and then assign crew members to get rid of some of the other ones. So just an option that you have. I just wanted to bring that up, that you don't have to do the barracks and the production like the game recommends, you could resolve your situation if you wanted to, or save it for later. Just keep in mind when you come back, you're going to get a second situation, then you're going to have 2 to resolve. So with that said, we talked a little bit about the hangar here, getting ready your ship for the next planetary exploration. There's not a whole lot of modifications or anything to put on there, so it's pretty straightforward about getting that ship ready. Now, the mission launch procedure, we kind of just breeze through this, but just really quick, it seems like most of the time you're going to start on step 3 as you read this stuff up here. Step 1 and 2, I think, are going to be rare situations where you're not really going to use. Most of the time, you're going to prepare the away team in step 3 here, and you do that by taking, again, we talked about using some of these crew members. I haven't gone to the barracks yet and added more crew members to my hand, so I just have the 4 here, 1 for each section, so I can't use these guys for anything in the ship book because I need all 4 of them for each section of the away team. But once I go to the barracks, I'll add some more of those to my hand, and I'll be able to have a couple of extras. And we mentioned that once you use them for an activity, they are going to go here into the resting crew tab. And these are the 4 crew members that we took on the initial mission. They got ranked up and sent to the resting crew members. Any other crew members that you use for bonus activities around the ship are going to go to resting crew members. Now, how do we get these back out of here? I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But they're all going to go into there. Once you select your away team, if you have multiple crew members in your hand, you're going to take the 4 that you want to take with you. Again, in this case, we only have 4. We're going to get more once we go to the barracks. You're going to choose your away team. You're going to put them on their boards. Stick your starting dice here. Put your character on your board here, all ready to go for all 4 sections. And then the rest of the crew members are going to go into the resting tab in the box. All those other ones are going to go away, and we're going to get those back. So once you have your crew members selected, it says the rest going to resting crew, and then you're going to select your section cards. Now, again, these are just rank 1 guys here, so the rank 1 section cards are the only ones we're going to be able to use. It recommends in the book to use the ones with the white bar on them if you're just starting out rather than this pink bar. And you'll notice here there's 2 of each card here. And it mentions that you have to take at least 10 section cards. So if you take these pink barred cards out here, the 4 of those, you're going to be left with 10 cards that have the rank 1 emblem on it. So there's going to be 10 cards. I guess you could take these if you wanted to, because it says take at least. So you could take the 10 cards and these as well. Just keep in mind, these are going to get shuffled. This is going to be your section deck. And the more cards you have here, the less frequent a specific card's going to come up. Okay, so if you really like a card, you want to see it a lot, just go to 10. Don't put any more in there, or else it's going to dilute that deck, and you're not going to see the cards as often. So that's what's meant in the rule book by take the ones with the white bar if you're not sure, instead of this pink bar. And I'm sure you could sub these out if you wanted to, read all the cards and see what they do, and just decide what you want to do there. You're going to take your section decks with you, and then you're going to load the lander. And basically when it says load the lander, there's a whole bunch of equipment cards that we don't have yet. And so all these mentions here about equipment cards, we're not going to be able to use any of that. And then it's going to say strap in and get ready to go. Now, to get ready to go, you're going to go back here to your landing card here. And right on the back here, they're going to give you a log number to read. It says do not read until instructed. And right here, they instruct you to check the upper part of the landing card. It contains the number of the log with the briefing. There's the briefing. That's what you're going to read to figure out how to land your lander. And so once you've done that, and you've landed your lander, you're going to begin the planetary exploration. It's going to tell you how to set up the planet board and how to disembark, and then you're going to begin the planetary exploration phase. Once you're done with the planetary exploration, you're going to leave the planet, and it talks about here cleaning up components, and then components to check that are still there. And let me just pull this up here so you can take a good look at this here. There's a little icon on here that has an X, I think, on an old school floppy disk or something, I think is what this is, saying don't save. And so there's a couple of points of interest, some threat cards that you're not going to save, you're going to take off the board, and again, this will be listed on the cards, you'll know to take it off, and then they're just saying check that you have all this stuff on the board still. The stuff without the don't save icon, and then these are the things on the board, and because you're going to use those later in the ship book. And then you go to docking. So we'll flip this over here, and you're going to go to docking. Mission failure. Bad stuff happens. Don't fail the mission, because it looks like a lot of unfortunate things will happen to you, including lowering morale, which is bad. And I've heard it's hard to get back up. So don't fail the mission. Discard excess discoveries. You'll notice on your lander here, let me try to find the one that we are going to be using here. Here we go. It mentions on here how many discoveries you can take with you. 5. So if you've found along the way 1 or 2 unique discoveries and 5 others, that's a total of 7, you can only bring 5 with you. You have to bring the unique ones, but the other discoveries you'll have to discard because you won't be able to bring them with you. So you can only carry 5 discoveries with this particular lander. So you're going to discard the excess discoveries, and this is where you assemble the available crew members. So the crew member that is on your board after you return back from your planetary exploration, you're going to leave there for the time being because that crew member may get ranked up and you'll have to switch their sleeve out. So you're going to leave them there for just a minute, but you're going to assemble the available crew members. That is where you're going to go back to your box here, and all your resting crew members, either they got here from the previous mission or were stuck in here because they did ship activities, they're all going to come out. And now they're all going to be available to you to use throughout the ship book until you go on to your next mission. So you're going to assemble available crew members. You're going to go to debriefing. You're going to promote your crew members. So the crew members, again, that are still on your board that just finished a planetary exploration are going to get ranked up. If that's the case, again, you can use now an available crew member from your hand, the ones you just took out of the resting section of the box, to use as an instructor. They have to be ranked 2 or higher to help you buy or sell dice. Okay? So this is where you're going to add dice to the crew members. You can also sell the dice if you decide, you know what, you don't get as good of a deal if you sell them. It's better to not do that. It seems like what it costs to buy a dice, you don't get the same success tokens back to sell the dice. But you do have that option. And you can use an instructor, it says here, of rank 2 or 3 to be an instructor. Doing so reduces the cost to purchase the die by 1 for a rank 2, or by 2 for a rank 3. So you can use a guy for an instructor who's a high rank to help you reduce the cost of buying new dice. Then you're going to unload. You're going to unload all your unique discoveries. And the cool thing about that is you can gain a bonus bridge upgrade here. Once you fill this row, you get this bridge upgrade. Once you fill this row, you get this bridge upgrade, and so forth, all the way to the end here. You fill this final row and you read a log. Kind of intrigued on what that says when you fill up all the unique discoveries. Any regular discoveries are just going to go in the card tray under gathered discoveries. Only the unique discoveries go in this book. You're going to store the lander, and then you're going to go to the med bays where things get kind of tricky here. Again, in the initial scenario, you got just a scratch injury, which wasn't a huge deal. Now when you get injured, it's going to be a big deal. And here's why. You're going to go to the med bay. You're going to install any upgrades that you have, which are going to help you in your med bay, help you recover your crew members. You're going to release non-injured crew members. So all the crew members now from your board, this is where they're going to go away. All crew members on your board, you may or may not have ranked them up if you qualified for it. Now they're going to go away if they're uninjured to the resting slot in the folder. In the box. They're going to go to the resting slot in the box, but now the injured crew members are going to have to go to the med bay to get fixed up. Those injuries don't just go away. The first thing you're going to do is recover crew members already in the med bay. They're going to advance just like the production queue and production as they get healed. You can use a crew member as a therapist to bump them one space along to make that process happen a little bit faster. And then your injured crew members are going to go into the med bay. If you have 1 injury, you go into the light injuries. 2, you go to moderate injuries. And 3, you go to critical injuries. And you can probably guess it's going to take you 3 times through the book to get out of a critical injury. So if you have 3 injuries, this crew member is going to be hanging out here for a long time. If you have light injuries, you could put a crew member here and assign a therapist, and boom, he's right out right away. So that's not too bad. But again, the more injuries you get, that crew member is going to get stuck here in the med bay. And then worst of all, if you have critical injuries, you have to make a survival check. You roll dice, and if you roll bad dice, the crew member dies in the med bay. So not only are you going to take a long time to get healed, but you have the risk that the crew member could die even before they even get healed. And if that happens, or if a crew member dies on the planetary exploration, they're going to go here into the memorial wall. And each section has slots to put crew members who have who didn't make it through the mission or didn't make it in the med bay, and you'll get a special bonus each time that happens. I imagine the bonus is probably nice, but I don't think you want crew members to die. Once that happens, you can go to the save point, and here it asks you to record your current planet board. So everything that it's asked you to leave out, the non-save things, take those away, and then it says everything else, leave it out, because you're going to record the planet on this little piece of paper. The planet name, things about the planet, discoveries there, and on the back here, all the points of interest, okay? And then once you've recorded all this, you're going to stick this under recorded planets in card tray B, it says right here. And the reason for that is, if you ever want to visit that planet again, you can set it up exactly as you left it. And so you don't have to start from the beginning and reveal all the point of interest cards, that they're already there on the planet board. And so you can just go through there and just pull this little piece of paper out. Oh, I'm going back to this planet. And you can just set it up exactly as it was set up before. Now, there are mechanics where this will go away. If for some reason you can't go back to that planet anymore, this will get destroyed. But you do have a little booklet of these to record the planets on where you're currently at. And then you stow all the card trays and everything, and it says close and store the shipbook, and this is a point where you could save. So I made the mistake of thinking, and maybe I already mentioned this, but I thought you visited the planet and then went through this whole shipbook. That's not really the case. So then next time you play, once you save here, coming back from the planet, what you're going to do is, and you start again, it's going to go here and say resuming a saved game, which basically is going to take you to the bridge here, and you're going to start this bridge phase all over again, like we did when we came back from the first mission. And you're going to work your way from the bridge to the ship facilities, depending on how many of the command points you have. And once that's done, you're going to go right back to choosing your lander again and setting up the mission and the launch procedures we talked about. And then right here is where you're going to do your planetary exploration. And then once that's finished, then you're going to resume the rest of the ship book here. And again, I'm sure you can choose anywhere to save your game, but the important thing to realize is once you finish planetary exploration, you're going to leave a lot of the board out to finish up the ship book, and mainly at the very end here to record your progress for that planet, so you can go back there and visit again. Again, if there's anything I missed here you guys think is important, please comment down below. If I'm making an error, I would love to correct that before I get too deep in this game, so please mention that. I hope when you guys see the Be a Hero icon that asks for your level on there, that you're going to remember not only your games, but your life. How are you doing in your life? What could you level up on? What could you do better at? I'm excited to dive into this game and get going. I think the excitement in this game, the mechanics are so-so that I found out so far just from playing, but it does seem like the game is really heavy in this discovery department, which is one thing that really intrigues me about the game. Discovering all these upgrades that you can get throughout the book, all the different crew members. I love pulling a crew member out and flipping it over and reading their bio on the back. It's kind of interesting about where they came from and how they ended up on the ISS Vanguard, as well as so many discoveries that you can use for research projects, as well as this envelope that it comes with here that says not to open it up quite yet. I'm really wondering what's inside of here. My sticker didn't stick very well, but I haven't peeked inside. That at some point you're going to be instructed to open this up. Kind of excited to see what's inside of here. But I think that's where the excitement of this game comes in, and that's really what it's all about. Traveling the universe, discovering things. I hope you guys have fun with this game. I hope you guys level yourselves up in real life and be a hero. And you guys take care.